Teachings from Kuthumi's Hands Mission of the Love Masters. In initiating this writing, I want to state at the outset that this is no work of fiction but rather is a straightforward recounting of matters that I came to learn about during the summer of 2003 when I was held within the aura or energy field of the great volcano, Mount Shasta. Kuthumi, who is ever present in my consciousness, would beckon me to Shasta at various times in my life, and 2003 was one of those times because it was necessary for me to learn what I'm about to reveal to you, and evidently it was time for me to become aware of it. Otherwise it never would have been revealed. I was employed as a gardener at the Mount Shasta Resort, and synchronistically it was arranged, probably by my guides, for me to be working with one of the most psychic women that I'd ever met. I will refer to her by the initial K and leave her name out of it. Her abilities had never been suppressed or mocked by her parents and thus had been allowed to flourish and grow unrestrained by human ignorance and fearful notions. From the age of 5, she could remember having her meta-psychological abilities which expanded and developed through the years in the relative freedom she was given to grow up in. She had continual guidance from another level of being, which would come by way of messages that she could hear clairaudiently or by thought packages, as I call them, inserted into her mind, and which she learned to discern from the usual analytical workings of her own thoughts. She could tell the difference between the helpful guidance and the ideas that originated with her, the personality, and she said that she was never steered the wrong way, although for a while she became rebellious and chose to ignore the lovingly given advice on some occasions. Then at the age of 13, before entering a grocery store with her mother, she was given an urgent warning to wait outside for 5 minutes. She, and her mother, complied, and within that time a man in the store had pulled out a gun and killed someone inside. From that day forward she never doubted or became hesitant again to follow the guidance offered to her. So, by the time I met her, Kay had the entire range of what we call the psychic or metaphysical abilities, the full repertoire, finely tuned, and in addition she had the input of her group of guides. I am keenly discerning myself and quite knowledgeable about matters of the spirit, and I know how to test those who make claims of a psychic nature. As well, I have my own intuitional knowings, which are provided by my essence or higher self. The more conversations I had with Kay of extra-mundane matters, the more comfortable I felt in accepting what she had to say. When she would receive a block of information that was highly important and her guides wanted to emphasize the truthfulness of it, they would give her the sensation that we call the chills, accompanied by the gooseflesh phenomenon, which is under the control of the autonomic nervous system and hence can't be created volitionally by anyone, so I could see the goosebumps for myself and know that she wasn't consciously producing them, and trying to deceive me. Most of this information came as a result of my persistent questioning, and thus her guides let me exercise my free will in formulating the questions about issues that I desired to be informed about. It was parceled out over the duration of the summer, and what I have come to call the mission of the Love Masters is a small part of all the things that were revealed to me in the vicinity of the sacred mountain. I will condense the story down and put it into a format that makes for easy reading. Many times did I see the goosebumps, and I had my own feelings of veracity for the story that unfolded. In January of 2002, Kay was awakened in the middle of the night, as happens when she is to have a meeting with some beings of light who come to instruct her and hold ceremony in her backyard. Though winter and at 3,500 feet above sea level, it was unusually warm on that particular night in the backyard of her home. She meets with 5 beings that I came to call the Big Five. They are pure consciousness and have nothing physical about their nature, but they produce holographic projections of themselves which are humanoid in form to meet the subconscious expectations of Kay and reduce any chance of a fearful response, and they appear about 30 feet tall. They can barely be seen at the etheric level when her etheric third eye vision, Ajna chakra, has been opened, and they emanate an intense and brilliant white light which is not painful to Kay's etheric vision. They are direct representatives of the Galactic Council of 12 for this galaxy and are the overseers of the mission of the Masters of Love and work cooperatively with the Great White Brotherhood of Planet Earth. For more, click on Who Are the Spiritual Hierarchy. For months they had been assisting Kay, through ritual and sound and ceremony, to raise the energies of her backyard to such an extent that it virtually became a power vortex of highly refined energy, all in preparation for what was to take place there. Their communications with her were entirely telepathic, of course. On this particular night in January, after her etheric sight was established, there appeared, at the etheric level, an uncountable number of human-like beings of light. That is, they were encapsulated in brilliant, individual fields of light and similarly could barely be seen by her etheric sight, so light were they in their vibratory nature of being. They collectively and individually emanated absolute and unconditional love. Love was the totality of their being. They knew only love and expressed only love, not the love known to humans but a higher form of love that comes automatically without conditions. These beings of light I call the Masters of Love, for to our infantile state of development they truly are advanced masters at expressing the purest form of that emotion that we call love. The entire area became surrounded by white spirit wolves who sang for the lofty assemblage. The white wolf will serve as the animal spirit guide for all of the love masters who had come for a ceremony that night in the shadow of the Shasta volcano. It had been necessary to elevate the energies in that backyard to be able to accommodate all the beings of light due to the nature of their being, and the ceremony was conducted by the Big Five around the etheric altar that had been created through the instructions given by the heavyweights over a 6-month period. Kay's focus of attention was divided between her dense physical body and her astral form, which was clothed in a long white gown. She remembers little else, consciously, of what took place but knows that this was the introductory ceremony of all the love masters to planet Earth and that a similar ceremony took place at other parts of the planet. Following the ceremony, they were taken to the appropriate astral plane for instruction and preparation for the mission which they have so chosen. They are currently and will be coming into physical form not by the usual birthing method as infants but rather will be using the so-called walking method to obtain physical form in this reality. At the higher self level, the mutual agreement is worked out for a certain individual to leave behind their physical body and allow one of the love masters to enter their consciousness into that form. Both essences or higher selves are benefited by the exchange, which isn't all that uncommon for those readers who are completely unfamiliar with such arrangements, and the departing soul receives beneficial karma for assisting this extremely important mission of the love masters. They are coming into young bodies of varying ages and will have to pass through the veil of forgetfulness that all pass through when entering this third density reality scheme, which means that they will lose memory of their origination, but they will assume the memories of the previous occupant of the body. Many will forget entirely the reason why they came, until reawakened, and some will be lost to the mundane attractions and diversions of life on Earth. This is their very first time on this planet, and they are horrified by the extremely negative energies which they encounter and the brutal and hateful behaviors that the sentient species, man, takes toward others of its kind. Some will simply not be able to function here or be able to tolerate what man has wrought against man. They have known only love, and the astral schools could not sufficiently prepare them for the preponderance of fear and the extent of negativity here. For those who do make it, there will be an awakening which is coded within them at the genetic level, and they will awaken at some point as suddenly and as easily as the flicking of a light switch, and they will then remember their purpose in the plan of which they are a part. They have come in numbers large enough to compensate for those who couldn't make it here. What it is that they will remember is that they are to be the teachers and the leaders of the initial phase of the new golden age on this planet after it has completely made the evolutionary shift from the third to the fourth density. See the new golden age on Earth. They will know from within that the direction which they will lead humanity in is the direction of love and respect and caring and compassion for all other forms of life. They will provide the examples as they live their principle of unconditional love, and they will catalyze the greatest explosion of love ever observed in a planet which had been mired in fear and all of the negative emotions for eons of time. This mission is so important to the galactic being, the great central sun, that failure is not even an option or a possibility, and that is why all who are involved with the mission have impenetrable levels of protection which cannot be touched by the Dark Brotherhood, those who would do anything in their power to thwart the plan overseen by the Big Five which, in effect, would end the destructive influence that the self-serving ones have exercised on Earth for so long. The reason why the mission is so important to the galaxy is that this is one of the few planets whereon the sentient beings experience emotion. This is the planet of emotions, and the large amount of water on its surface is a symbolic reminder of that fact. Almost all other sentient civilizations, and there are billions in this galaxy alone, evolved through the development of the intellect, the mental side of being. They have seen what emotions have done to this laggard and backward planet and consider emotions to be an impediment to the evolutionary advancement of a race. When this planet explodes with the only true positive emotion, which is love, in the New Age, the galactic observers who are here to watch the whole drama unfold will be astonished to see it coming from an entire planet which they thought would self-destruct as a direct consequence of its largely negative use of emotions. They will then be open to the consideration of incorporating emotional expression into their beingness. They know and they comply with the universal laws, and they have developed mental abilities beyond our comprehension, but they cannot feel love and affection. In fact, they cannot feel anything at all, emotionally speaking. The example to be set by planet Earth at the next higher level of expression, fourth density, is part of the plan of the Galactic Council, the 12 aspects of the galactic being, and that is why the mission of the Love Masters is of such extreme importance. All of them are extended expressions from a vast gestalt of consciousness, a monad or group mind which is comprised entirely by that energy that we call love. Love is the totality of its beingness, and that is why it was chosen to provide the extensions of itself to come onto this planet and guide her sentient life forms onto the path of love for all things. Those extensions I have called the Masters of Love. Through my questioning, we discovered something that Kay hadn't previously known. She comes from that same group mind as the Love Masters and as such was entrusted with being the forerunner and preparing the area near to Mount Shasta where they would have their ceremony of introduction to planet Earth before beginning their mission. She has done the same on other planetary systems, and so her specialized experience was tapped for this one. She and they have the same source of being, and so one of their own blazed the trail and laid the groundwork, so to speak. There will be sanctuaries of light where these young ones will be brought to be raised and nurtured and educated and protected for that time when they must go forth and do what it is that they came to do. The methods of raising them and educating them will be more appropriate to the Aquarian age and higher consciousness and will not resemble the methods which have poisoned the psyches of uncountable generations in the past. These sanctuaries are known only to the White Brotherhood, forces of light, and will be highly protected. If it becomes necessary, they can be made invisible to those of the dark side who would intend to destroy them. For more about the Sanctuary Project, go to the Sanctuary of Kuthumi. I am quite aware that this is going to read like science fiction to those who are exposed for the very first time to the concepts of Vulcans, the galactic being, animal guides, etheric sight, and the dark forces, etc. I'm not here to pull any punches and will lay it all out on the table, to mix metaphors for those with the eyes to see and the ears to hear. I am unconcerned with the skepticism of the uninformed. To be honest, there are far stranger things in existence than what I've revealed here. A whole lot of help is on the way and, Lord knows, humanity can surely use it. Are you in need of the healing energies of the Ascended Master Kuthumi? Visit KuthumiHands.com.